Now I will introduce a very important person in this conference. Is the chair of the steering committee, Zhang Yuxin. He is the CTO of Huawei Cloud. Huawei Cloud is definitely one of the largest cloud platforms in the world, competing with the giants like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. And Zhang Yuxin is the CTO of this large organization. He sponsored this event. He helped us to organize it. And now I will give him the microphone, and he will tell us a few words.
Hello, everyone. This is Bruno Zhang, CTO of Huawei Cloud, and I'm the chair of the steering committee. First of all, welcome to ICCQ. Okay, and in the last few decades, I think software has become more and more critical, more and more important of business and our everyday life. Okay. And we see a lot of new business, new kind of software are emerging every day, like mobile devices, cloud applications, IoT, robots, and AI applications like this. And all this technology, all these new applications depends on high quality and trustworthy software. So besides the inevitable functional defects, software development are facing more and more challenge today, okay? Like the attacks, like the privacy data problems, data leaks, or our software are running on some unstable networking situation, and so on. There are a lot of problems we are facing, and we need to solve this kind of problem. And I think this is the reason why we want to get together to have this conference. We can discuss with each other. We can share our ideas to how to face this problem, how to solve this problem. And I think we can have a lot of good idea. We can find a lot of technology with each other. And Huawei is a leading ICT company both in China and in the world. And Huawei Cloud is a new business in Huawei, but we are growing very fast. I think Huawei is the most fast-growing cloud service provider in the world. We have only 3 years history because we started only in 2017, but only in 3 years, we are ranking at number 2 in China market, and we are number 6 in the global market. Our services covers nearly all the global market. Okay, so since we are serving most part of the world, the customer from most part of the world, we know the trustworthy of software is very important to our customer. And I think this conference will focus on our software technologies, software problems like the static analysis, programming verification, bug detection, and the software maintenance, and so on. I think these topics are very important for the quality of software and for our business in the future. It is our honor to host such a new computer science conference. I think this conference will enable an open dialogue between researchers from all the countries, from all around the world. I hope ICCQ can benefit all participants and have a very important impact on the history of trustworthy of software. I think this is the hopes of all the participants. So I wish the ICCQ will be very successful, and I hope everyone in this conference will be happy with each other.
How do you think is Russia important for Huawei business, for Chinese business? How do you estimate the importance of Russians community of practitioners and researchers? Maybe you can say a few words about this.
Okay, I think Russia is very important for Huawei and for our software development technology. We started our Russian institute, my Russian team, maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And we find a lot of talents in software development and in our ICT technology. This is the reason why we want to build a very good team in Russia. I think the talents in Russia and the researchers in Russia will help us to improve our technology and to improve the competency of Huawei Cloud so that we can provide better services to the customer all around the world. I think this is our benefit. And I think we can work together well to achieve this business goal.
And if you compare results of the Russian team in Huawei and the results of the Chinese team in Huawei, or maybe you have other teams in the world, so how would you rank right now the results coming from Russia to you, to headquarters of Huawei, and the results coming from different countries to the headquarters?
Okay, so our Russian team members, I think, are very good at the software programming skill, and our Russian colleagues are very good at mathematics algorithm, and this is just the weak point of some of the engineer in China, because in China a lot of young engineers, they are lack of the skills of programming, their code quality, their code style is not very good. Okay, but they are young. I think after good training, they can do very well. But in Russia, I think our team are skilled and they are good at mathematics, are good at programming. I think this is the advantage of my Russia team, and our Russia colleagues can teach the Chinese team to do well in our software development area.
That's great. And do you think it's necessary maybe to move programmers from Russia to China and from China to Russia, like relocate them in order to integrate them better in one team?
Yes,
or
okay. I think I'm open for this.
That's interesting. And what do you think about the language barrier? Because sometimes people say that there is a language barrier problem for us, like people in China that don't speak Russian, they don't sometimes speak English, and also Russian people don't speak English. So do you feel this problem or not?
I think in the beginning, I think there will be some problem for the language barriers. Okay, but I think a lot of team members in our Chinese team can speak English, but few of them can speak Russian. That's a problem. But I think after some time, after we get familiar with each other, get familiar with the project, get familiar with the technology we are doing, I think these barriers will be less and less. Okay, and I think I want to push the Chinese team be more open and more international. They have to speak English. They have to speak maybe a lot of international language, and they will be skilled to communicate with the experts from other countries. Okay, from the beginning there will be some difficulties, but after the learn some time, I think that will be better.
Yeah, it sounds good. And one more question. What do you think about the balance between researchers and practitioners in Huawei? So who are more important for you? Like people who are doing research and not producing any products now, but maybe in the future, or practitioners who fix problems right now, who write code right now, make products. So where's the balance?
Okay, I get the point. So Huawei is one of the company which have look very important on on research. Okay, so nearly 30% of our R&D are put in research, not engineering. So that means our R&D investment, only 70 of that will put on product, and 30% of will be in research. That I think I know a lot of global companies, a lot of Chinese companies, only few companies can do this, like Huawei. So Huawei look very put more and more efforts in research, because that research is critical for Huawei to become a leader in the industry. If we just put our efforts in engineering, like software development, like the product development, I think it can only be a good company. Maybe we just follow some technology, or we just do something a little bit better than our competitors. But if we want to have some key technology different with others, or we want to have some disruptive technology, we have to invest on research. That's one of the reasons why Huawei have so many global R&D centers like Russia.
And how do you, if I may ask this question, how do you measure the progress of research? How do you know that these people actually making something meaningful and interesting comparing to practitioners? Because practitioners are making products which we can touch, we can see today, but researchers, sometimes they spend time on something which we cannot touch. So how do you, on your level of the top management, how do you understand which research center is more productive and more effective than others?
Mm-hmm. So I think the way to measure this different type of work are also different. For the researchers, I think the most important thing is the standard of their technology. I hope their technology will be sophisticated, will be the best in the world. Maybe it cannot be put into the product right now, but the standard, their advantage, their technology should be the best, should be at least in advance of our competitor 1 or 2 years, or it should be a totally new technology that will create a new market. That's the value of research. For productions, best quality, best cost, and make money. Different request for researchers and you mean the practitioners?
Yeah, practitioners. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Okay, thank you very much, Zhang Yuxin. So we finished with your speech. So we go next to the next presentation. Thanks again for attending us, and I will mute your microphone if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.